What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the age-old question, or at least the question that gets asked most in Facebook groups. Which camera is better, the Pocket 6K or the Pocket 4K? So it took me a really long time to make this video because I really wanted to test both cameras in a lot of different situations. And at this point, I've owned the Pocket 6K for about 8 months and I've owned the Pocket 4K for about 6 months. To be fair, both cameras are amazing. We still haven't gotten that perfect camera, so this will be a head-to-head comparison of two cameras that I consider close to perfect. I'd like to start this out with a short clip with cameras marked as A and B. I'll have the answers at the end. Here it goes. So since there's been lots of great videos already made that outline the positives of each of these cameras individually, I'll be focusing on the differences between the two and the best case scenarios for each of these cameras. Okay, so first, let's talk about what most people are interested in, and that is the image quality. I put this into 3 categories: color, noise performance, and dynamic range. All right, color. For the most part, the color of both of these cameras is amazing. Between the two cameras, I don't see a huge difference in the way they render color. However, here's a link to Carlos's video where he discusses that he has a multi-cam setup and he's having a little bit of color variance issues. I believe what he said was there was something about matching colors in his multi-cam that he was having problems with. Some people might call this a quality control issue, but I say each camera's made special. I'm not a Blackmagic fanboy. So when it comes to color, this is gonna be a tie. Let's jump over to noise performance. Both of these cameras perform well in this category because of their dual native ISOs. However, if we're exporting at 1080p or a 4K project, the Pocket 6K is gonna handle noise a little bit better. I know an argument can be made for the use of a speed booster, like the one I have on here. So let me be really specific. If the shot is exposed properly, there's gonna be some noise in the shadows. It's the nature of raw video. You can use a bit of denoiser to get rid of it, and you're not gonna have any issues with it, honestly. Just use that denoiser, it's gonna be amazing. But however, when you punch into the shadows, you're gonna get a little bit of bigger grain in the 4K than you do in the 6K. And in less ideal lighting situations, like if you're in a run and gun situation, that's gonna be a bigger problem for you. But like I said, noise reduction in post can definitely help or eliminate these issues. The point is, the 6K handles noise a little bit better. 1 point, Blackmagic Pocket 6K. In fact, here's an example of the two different cameras in shots where I think that it's gonna bring to light a little bit of the issue of noise. Both of these shots are during bright, high noon sun. So you can see that the highlights are amazing. They're both doing great. But if you take a peek in the shadows here in the Pocket 6K, you really don't notice as much noise as you do in the Pocket 4K. Now, obviously this is punched in 400%, but it's there. You know, we've talked about it. 6K better at noise performance. Okay, let's talk about dynamic range. Blackmagic Design puts both of these cameras at 13 stops of dynamic range. However, my experience has been that between my two particular models here, the 6K handles highlights slightly better and shadows just a tiny bit better as well. It's slight, but I'll say it's noticeable. For some people, they're never going to notice a difference. Like your clients will probably not notice a difference, but for you and I, as camera people, we will notice the difference. But at the end of the day, one more point goes to the Blackmagic Pocket 6K. Now hold on to your hats because the tide's about to change. Let's talk about codecs, frame rates, and storage. Frame rates, let's be real. Nobody wants to shoot with anything less than a full sensor. These are already smaller than full frame sensors. We don't need them to be any smaller. So the 6K shoots at 50 frames a second at full 6K. The 4K shoots at 4K DCI full sensor at 60 frames a second. Both cameras have 120 frames per second in crop mode, so the win here goes to the 4K. Codec. The 6K shoots various types of codecs, including 6K, 5.7K, 4K. What it does not have is 6K ProRes. Although the raw files are different between these two cameras, like you can shoot 6K on the 6K camera and you can only shoot 4K on the 4K, for ProRes, they're identical, with 6K offering 4K DCI UHD as the best possible option to use the full sensor. So the win here, going to the Pocket 4K. Storage. This is the reason that I pick up the Pocket 4K more and more. The storage is roughly 2 times usage-wise, on the Pocket 6K than on the Pocket 4K. So if you need to shoot all day on the 6K, you're going to need about 2 terabytes with the T5 attached to the top, versus the Pocket 4K, which you can get away with 1 terabyte and you won't even fill up the drive. Another win for the Pocket 4K. The last thing I want to talk about is lens selection. In this area, the Pocket 4K absolutely demolishes the 6K, because not only can you adapt every lens from the EF lineup, but you can also use all the newer Micro Four Thirds cinema glass that I've already talked about, as well as FD lenses that don't really mount or adapt that well to the EF system. So the score for the Pocket 6K, we've got color, noise performance, dynamic range. On the other hand, the Pocket 4K, you've got color as well, frame rates, codecs, storage, lens selection. Oh, and I almost forgot, rolling shutter. Although it's not a huge issue on either camera, you will notice it more on the Pocket 6K than on the Pocket 4K. So at this point, we've got a 6-3. At the end of the day, the perfect camera is going to depend on you, the shooter. Are you the kind of shooter that focuses more on jaw-dropping hero shots? Pocket 6K. Are you the kind of shooter that needs a more versatile all-around camera that requires less storage space? That's the 4K. For me, knowing that there's a slightly better performance camera for $600 more would drive me crazy. So I went ahead and bought the Pocket 6K. But my recommendation to you is, if you can't get both, I'd go with the Pocket 4K. It's great on budget, storage space will not be an issue for you, and you will not regret it. I hope this information was helpful for you. Please support the channel with a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Catch you all next week. Oh, you know what? I gotta stand like this first for like 10 minutes. Or like this. What? Catch you guys later.